the hell is it the end of March already? I don't know, but let's talk about the books I read this month. Hey guys, it's Megan here, also known as Reading with Hot Chocolate, and let's talk about what I read in March. And what you don't see in this video is the fact that this is the second time I've had to record it. So I hope it's as good as the first time, because the first time my audio didn't work. So here we go for round two, the fun you don't see on the back end. All right, so my first book this month was A Box Full of Darkness by Simone St. James, and I gave this 4 hot chocolates. And remember, I rate in hot chocolates, not stars. I really liked this book, and I know you're probably sitting there going, Megan, you gave it 4 hot chocolates. How can you say you really liked it? Because a five hot chocolate reading for me is like, I'm obsessed and I want everyone to read it. I do like this book and I want you to go read it. But it's not one when someone says like, hey, what have you read lately that you would recommend? That's like your best book you've read lately. That's why it gets 4 stars. 4 hot chocolates. This is what happens when you have to re-record yourself. So we have our 3 main characters, Violet, Vale, and Dottie, and they are siblings. They do not live with their parents. Their parents have passed, but they still own their childhood home. And they've kept the childhood home for like sentimental reasons. But one of the big things is that they had another sibling named Ben. And Ben disappeared when he was 5 or 6 years old. They were playing hide and seek in the house, and all of a sudden, poof, gone. No one knows where he went. And it kind of tore up the family, caused a lot of drama, as it would. A lot of trauma, drama, all those things. And we learn really quickly that Violet has some kind of extra powers to her life. She has a little bit of the sixth sense. She can see ghosts, and which is great because her job is cleaning up the house of dead people and packing it up if they don't have family to come pack it up, and kind of distributing things to the trash or to Goodwill or wherever they might want them to go. So she can see ghosts, so that makes her job of cleaning houses really interesting, because sometimes the little ghost will pop up and be like, hey, you should check out this thing over here that I hid in my sock drawer. And she finds kind of their deep, dark secrets. But the one person she's never seen is her brother, Ben. She does have a very vicious specter, I would like to call them, named Sister, who's very aggressive, very scary, very violent. And she's been seeing her and interacting with her since she was a child. So we hear a little bit about Sister. But what really brings all of our siblings together is that the people in charge of taking care of the house call Violet and say, we out. This is too spooky. There's weird things going on in your house. We're out of here. We're never coming back. So she calls up the siblings and is like, hey, Ben needs us. The house needs us. We need to go home because something's up with Ben. And yes, you're correct. The Ben that is missing, but her like sixth sense and her supernatural beliefs tell her that Ben is trying to communicate with them and tell them what happened to him. So they all go to the house. Vale, he is very much into UFOs. He is convinced that he saw aliens around the time Ben was taken or went missing, and is just really sure aliens are real. He spends a lot of time tracking them. And then we have Dottie, and she is a hair model in New York. So she and hands. She does hands and hair, and everyone's like, you'll never be famous that way. And she's like, I don't care. I can make a living. Leave me alone. So they all have very kind of unique jobs and are coming back to their house to come together to find out what really happened to their brother Ben, if they can figure it out. And you really quickly learn that this house is definitely haunted or something. There's a lot of weird things happening. Things are written on the walls. Things are not where they were when they left them. Ben, in particular, his toys that were in the attic all boxed up are now all out, like there's been someone playing with them. They go to the sheriff. Violet goes to the sheriff to see if she can get the case file, and he's kind of like, I don't know where anything is. This whole town is a train wreck. Good luck. So he sends his son with her, and they find the case files, and she has like a really violent reaction because of sister. And so he's invested now. He's like, I'm into, let's do this. And they start kind of wondering, like, was Ben real? Was Ben a ghost? Did other people see Ben? Are we sure he was real? Because like he was never enrolled in school. They can't find any records of his birth. Like all these kind of weird things that now really make them question who was Ben, and like, was he even a real person? Did we have like a family hallucination that Ben existed? And it's a wild ride. And I'm not going to give a lot of spoilers because you just need to read it to get what actually is going on. I did only give it 4 hot chocolates because there are times where I felt kind of lost and I was like, what's happening? Like, how did we get here? Could we, like, there were still a couple questions I had left over at the end of the book that I just missed in my reading. You know, sometimes you're reading something and you're really engrossed, so you miss some detail, and that could be what happened. But I did still have a couple of questions. My best friend Rachel gave this five stars from her. So she loved it. It is also set in the same universe as the Sundown Motel. They reference the Sundown Motel in this book, which I have not read yet. I've not gotten to a lot of the backlist for Simone St. James yet. I read her book of Cold Cases book, and that I loved, which is why I wanted to read this one. So maybe someday I'll get back to read some more of hers later on. But overall, really good. It has a little bit of that thriller, supernatural, spooky vibes. Talks a lot about kind of family and how they kind of come together and kind of process everything that happened to them so that they can start to move on in their lives and figure out what actually happened to Ben. So check it out if you want to. Next up, we veer right back into the lane of romance. Drum roll, please, ladies and gentlemen. My first 5 hot chocolate rating of the year goes to First Time Caller by B.K. Borison. And let me tell you how petrified I was of this book, because I really liked Love Light Farms, and then I really hated and DNF'd Good Spirits, which I know is a hot take on the internet. So I was very nervous that I had only found one B.K. Borison book I liked and that I was going to hate the rest. And I was obsessed with this book really early on. We have our 2 main characters. We have Aiden and Lucy. Aiden is a DJ at a radio station where he carries out the task of like the love line. People call and ask him questions about their relationship and how to fix their relationships. And he is a grumpy grumpster at this point, and he doesn't think love exists. He doesn't think it's possible. So he's giving advice, but not with his whole chest and with his whole heart. And it's showing in the ratings because he's just tired of hearing people complain about their spouses. And then we have Lucy, who's a single mom. She works as a car mechanic. Badass, by the way. And her daughter decides, my mom needs to date. So she calls Aiden on the phone, and Lucy overhears her on the phone and immediately assumes the worst. She thinks that her daughter is talking to some creepy old man on the phone or something, because her daughter's like, you know, whispering into the phone under her covers. And so she like barges into the room and ends up talking to Aiden for a while that night. And her daughter falls asleep during the whole thing. And it goes viral because the radio station starts doing little podcast segments and putting things up. And the internet is obsessed. And they're like, oh my God, we need to find love for Lucy. Lucy needs to find love. So they have her come on the radio station. They get some sponsors to sponsor Lucy's drive to love, Lucy's road trip to love, something. It's a car company. It's a car dealer. So that, no, tire. It's a tire dealership. So that is why they kind of have this like road to love theme. And I would say that I think Aiden falls first. And Lucy falls too, but not quite. She doesn't quite realize it. But Aiden more so really does not realize that he has fallen. He knows that he's kind of flirting. He knows he's kind of playing the field a little bit, and he is getting protective of Lucy when people call in, and he kind of screens them, and it's like, nope, jerk, nope, jerk. And every time she goes on a date that goes badly, he like comes to her rescue. So he's kind of admitted to himself that he's fallen for her, but not quite at the same time. It's kind of complicated. She, however, is oblivious. Her friends, her ex-husband, who's gay, who's lived her neighbor, and they have a great relationship, and his partner's great. They're all like, "Girl, are you sure you don't like Aiden?" She's like, "No, he doesn't like me. It can't be." And they're like, "Are you sure?" So it does take her a little while to realize that Aiden is indeed flirting with her and indeed very protective, and always kind of becomes her knight in shining armor and is there to protect her when he feels like she needs protected. He is not a fan of most of the people that are calling into the show because he wants her for himself. But he has some past things that he's got to work through, and make is why it takes him a little while to realize that he is in fact in love with our girl, and he thinks he has to do to like make it up to her. And it's kind of adorable. And you do kind of worry for a minute. I'm like, what if they don't have a happily ever after? I'm going to be pissed. But it's a romance book, so there's got to get there somehow. It's just how they get there. So that's kind of the journey of this book. And it's kind of fun thinking about like the old days. I mean, people don't call into radio stations like they used to. Used to call and be able to talk to the DJ, and they used to ask questions and used to have like conversations. And now it's not so much of that because most people are probably listening to streaming. I actually was on the radio here in Oklahoma City for a little while doing a segment with my friend who worked at the radio station. And it's super fun to like be in the radio station and then hear yourself on the radio. It's kind of fun, actually. So if you ever heard me on the radio, you did in fact hear me. It was Down the Rabbit Hole with Meghan, and it was all about pop culture. I loved it. It was so fun. But now what we're here to talk about, we're talking about First Time Caller, which you definitely need to read. I gave it 5 hot chocolates. What more do you need to know other than I gave it 5 hot chocolates? I cannot wait to go read the second one, which is And Now Back to You. I have it on hold at my local indie right now up in Guthrie at Novel Idea, and I'm going up there shortly after this to go pick it up. So I'm excited. I will get to it eventually. My third and final read for March is Just for the Cameras by Meghan Quinn, and I gave it 4 hot chocolates. And I will say that part of the reason it got 4 hot chocolates is because it could have been 50 to 75 pages shorter and still been great. I'm sorry, Meghan Quinn. I'm sorry. I love you. All of your books are right back here, or all the ones I have. I truly love your books, but this one could have been a little bit shorter. And that is why it only got 4 hot chocolates from me, because there were a couple times where I was like, yep, got it. Okay, move on. But let's talk about it. We have our main character, Graydon. The N names are very common. We just had Aiden, now we have Graydon. We need some variety of names, authors. He is a football player. He's on a team that sucks. They are the worst football team in the league. Like Tennessee Titans bad. I think the Titans are still terrible. I haven't lived there in a while, but I'm pretty sure they're still terrible. And they need some good PR. And there's a baseball team and a hockey team that also need some good PR. And so there's 3 players, 1 from each team, that is selected. Graydon is our football player. That's the story we're following for this book. The other 2, I'm assuming, will be coming to a bookshelf near us soon. And he is the epitome of grumpy grump. He's pissed off all the time. He's pissed off because his dad is a downright dick and interfering in his life all the time at the stadium. Because his dad was like an all-star player and everybody loved his dad. But in real life, his dad was just a shit dad. And he likes to interfere with Graydon's career, and it doesn't go over well. And so he's just genuinely grumpy. He doesn't want to do this PR thing. He gets to the zoo, which is where all 3 of them will be working. And they're all paired with a different animal. And he's like, cool, I'm going to get something really cool. And he gets there and finds out that he's been paired with Maple. And Maple is in charge of the flamingos. Big, huge, beefy football guy gets flamingos. He is none too happy. And Maple, I wouldn't say she's our sunshine to our grump because she is sassy. So she could be the sassy sunshine, but she's definitely sassy and is not putting up with his shit. He starts to insult the flamingos, and she's like, get the hell over yourself. these birds are the best. They are my life. I have studied them. I've lived in Peru to study them. I'm trying to help keep this exhibit great and expand it and make it even better and renovate it because they're becoming endangered. And your job is to help me do that because we need your face to make money. And he's so mad about it. And she makes him wash dishes a lot because she feels like that's good punishment for him, is to have to wash the dishes all the time at the zoo. And I think it's hilarious. So good on you, Maple. Like I said, Maple loves the flamingos. They are her whole life, and she wants nothing more than to protect these birds. And she knows that she's gonna have to like ham it up to do this PR thing to get them funding to keep the flamingos at the zoo and upgrade their exhibit. And they decide they should start an Instagram page to really up the game because they're just trying to think outside the box. So they make an Instagram handle called Flock and Tackle. And I'm here for it. And I want this to be real. And someone needs to make this happen in real life so that I can enjoy it. And they post just a selfie of the two of them. And immediately the internet is like, oh my God, are they dating? They're so cute. They should be dating. Look how cute they are. Why are they not dating? As the internet does. And they decided that the PR people decided like, oh, we should put them in a fake relationship because that'll make it even better. And we can like tease them and edge them a little bit about this relationship. And then, you know, it'll come to its conclusion however we see fit. Aiden is like, absolutely not. That is a terrible plan because the press will tear her up. The fans will tear her up. They'll invade her life. It's a terrible plan. And Maple's like, give me the paper. Let me sign it because I need to save my birds. And he is vehemently against it. And she is like, let's just do this. We'll get it done. So they decide that he will continue to go to the zoo, but in fair trade, that she's got to go to football practice in the preseason. And so they have her come to training all the time. And it is a riot. He is very much a touch her and I'll kill you kind of person. He's very protective. He tells his team all the time, like she decides she wants to like run a route. And he was like, if you touch her, I'll kill you. And they're all like, got it, boss. Like, we're not going to touch her. We're going to let her run. Like, it's fine. And then I guess one of the rookies decides that he's going to try to be cool and tries to like run after her. And Maple has to handle him swiftly. And I love it for her because she doesn't need a man to protect her. She can do it herself. This book is 3 chili peppers, I would say. There's some pretty explicit scenes. They're fantastic scenes, but I will give you a warning. There's a lot more spice in this one, which is very true to Meghan Quinn. If you know, you know candy canes. There you go. There's no candy canes in this one, though, because this is not a Christmas book. But what happens is our little couple falls for each other, as they do in all romances. And they get paparazzi'd out on like a proper date. And so then now the PR person's like, well, shit, now it's real. And now we have a new problem because now our contracts are null and void because you're in a real relationship. And her name is Gretchen. And honestly, Gretchen's a badass. They should have listened to Gretchen way sooner in life in this whole process because she knows her shit and they should listen. But she kind of stirs the pot because she makes April? No, her name is Maple. She makes Maple sign a preemptive breakup NDA because everyone's convinced that Graydon cannot possibly actually be in a relationship. It's not possible for him to do that, and that they're going to break up and then they're going to have a huge mess, which is a huge conflict in the book because he's really pissed off that they made her sign this NDA because he is head over heels and she is also head over heels, and he feels like they're dooming their relationship from jump. We learn a lot more about his mom and where she is and what has happened to her. And it is sad. And part of the reason he has so much anger and so much like resentment for his father, who again, grade A, asshat. We don't like him. Please, somebody tackle him and take him out. He's the worst. He's trying to like sabotage Graydon in every way possible because he just is pissed off that Graydon's better than him and more popular than him, and he just can't get over it. But yeah, it's such a cute one. There are a couple lines where they quote them just for the cameras, and you kind of just go, oh, there it is, there's the title, because we all love those moments. I look forward to reading the next one. I think it's Bennett, because it was baseball, and Bennett and baseball go together. I'm pretty sure it's Bennett anyway. I might not remember that correctly, but that'll come out soon, and I'm excited to read that. But yeah, those are my 3 books that I finished in March as my March wrap up. I will be starting one literally tonight, and I'm going to cheat because I can't remember the title right now. I'm about to start How to Write a Love Story by Catherine Walsh. So that'll be coming up shortly, and another review in the next week or 2 probably. But I hope you guys add some books to your TBR, and I'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications so you never miss one of my videos.